Okay, so I always wanted to make videos like this, but I never got the chance to, or I never even wanted to. And I'm just sitting here, it's like freezing outside. We're just about to hit like a cold front and a winter storm. So basically just cooped up in here. But I'm really into the psychology of getting everything you want, kind of shifting your reality. So I figured, might as well start making videos like this. And I've seen a lot of people in this space making videos about this, just kind of talking head. But I also think there's a lot of misinformation out there. And I think for the first video, what's a good start is just if you're gonna look at one video, if you're in self-improvement space, if you're owning a business, if you're gonna watch one video of mine, it really should be this one. And I just basically want to speak about the types of things that might be just holding you back and how I was able to kind of overcome these things and some of the challenges that I faced. And like literally just 2 years ago, I was smoking, drinking, clubbing. I was 18 years old. Smoking, drinking, clubbing every single weekend. I worked a job that I liked. I was going to school. I was doing all the necessarily like good things, the things as a 18-year-old should be doing. But I felt really unfulfilled. I felt like that things weren't really going my way. I felt lost. I felt confused. And I felt really weak. And I knew at a certain point, and it's really hard to describe when, but I just had this switch in my head where I felt like, okay, things need to change. I need to change. And I give a lot of credit to my friend at the time. He started to do day trading. And it, of course, once it first started, I had a lot of doubts with it. But eventually, I saw him really trying and going on all in on it. And it really inspired me to kind of, start something for myself as well and to start taking some risks and invest in some courses. And so I did. But I'm not really talking more about that. I'm more talking about this level of awareness that I have, this level of understanding of myself that I had never achieved throughout the year of doing online business. And I was so afraid to kind of let go of my past self and my past identity. And I didn't realize it was literally one of the biggest things that was holding me back. And it was probably the only thing that was holding me back because I was afraid to let that part of me go because I had so many good memories as my past self that I felt like I was letting everything go, including those memories, if I were to kill that old version of myself. But that's not true at all, because you can still hold memories dearly to yourself, and you can still have the past version of yourself as long as you don't let it have power over you. And I remember so many times that I was scrolling through my phone through TikTok, through self-improvement videos and Iman Godzi and all these different types of videos and all this noise. And it just confused me even more. I didn't know what to do. So I started an agency, ended up failing it 2 times. I never really found out what I want to do. Obviously now I'm on my 3rd agency. It's a lot better of a model and I found a lot more success in it. I enjoy running it a lot more than I did my other ones, but my life never actually changed. I maybe made a few $1,000s, but it didn't actually change at all. And that's because I was operating on the exact same system that had brought me to where I was. The same decisions, the same beliefs, the same mindset, everything was the exact same. That's why I wasn't getting to where I wanted to go. And once I realized that my past identity wasn't going to bring me to where I wanted to go, that's when things completely changed for me. And this is what I want to tell you. You don't need 12-hour workdays. You don't need to hustle, to grind, to do all these things. You only need maybe a few hours. Obviously, if you have more, the better. But realistically, you need a few hours of like quality time to focus on yourself and your goals and your dreams and to really master something. But obviously, people are going to tell you otherwise. People are going to tell you that you need 12-hour long days to sit and grind and become a robot. But that's not true at all. The biggest opportunity of your life will come when you realize that. When you realize that these 12-hour days, that these long hours, and what other people set out for you. Because if you look at it like this, a 9 to 5 and going to school and everything is set out for you. But then once you start to consume self-improvement videos and all these different types of things, that's also set out for you. And if they're telling you to work 12-hour days, then you got to realize and have the ability to critically think outside a matrix that you escape to just enter a new one. You need to be able to think for yourself and to create your own path. And if you feel like 12-hour workdays is something that you want to do deep down, then sure, go ahead and do 12-hour workdays. But for me, and I know a lot of other people, that's not what I want to do. And that's not what I was set out here to do. So I'm going to try my best here to give you the best kind of rundown of a routine and a way of applying yourself to the world that'll allow you to change your life in just by using a few hours and by constantly aligning yourself with the highest version of yourself and the version of you that's already a millionaire. So if you want to get rich, I don't know how that just turned on. That's pretty crazy. Anyways, my hands are here. That's a little freaky. Anyways, let's keep going. If I were to start with one thing, it all starts with how you actually start your day. So we're all starting from the beginning. It's a pretty good start. It all starts in the morning. How you start your day is the most important thing. Testosterone is at its highest. Happiness is at its highest. Cortisol is at its highest. All these things are at its highest. So if you start your day off by scrolling on your phone, you're going to start really messing up your mental clock and your pathways that are just going to create a influx of chemical imbalances. So if you start to seek out short-term dopamine in the morning, like let's say, if you're touching yourself, or you wake up and you eat right away, or you scroll on TikTok or on Instagram, then for the rest of the day, you're gonna have a really hard time experiencing delayed gratification, which is something that you need throughout the entire workday because you need to be able to focus. You're gonna constantly seek out that short-term dopamine, be reaching your phone more often, be wanting to eat more often and doing all these things. So it really messes up your day. And a lot of it is just noise. A lot of it is stuff that you don't need. It's going to distract you, and like things like the news and emails and all those things. You don't need to do that right away. You don't need to consume the news. It's just going to fearmonger and never really get you to actually where you want to go. It's not going to serve you. And I saw this idea that your attention is basically like a RAM, and you only have a certain amount of memory that you can account to so many different things, right? So if you just have so many tabs open, you're operating on so many different things all at once, you're consuming, this piece of content, you're trying to work on this project, and you're trying to do this, you're trying to do that, you become overloaded. And I think you only have maybe a few billion, 100 and something billion bits of memory throughout your entire life. So just take that into account when you're giving your attention to things that are practically useless and that you don't actually need to put your attention to, right? You need to start right off the bat in the morning, direct your attention to something that, number one, could increase any of the things that I mentioned, such as, the happiness, your cortisol, your testosterone. Go for a walk, read. I know these things sound so corny and it sounds super boring, but it regulates yourself so that throughout the entire day, you can have a stagnant level of chemical balances, and you're not just constantly spiking up and down and having, shitty days and you feel like you're just kind of scraping by. It's going to be a lot more consistent, and it's going to be much easier to work, right? So direct your attention to that, and then, eventually the rest of the day is going to feel just a lot easier, right? Second thing is basically ties into the same thing. It's just removing any sort of friction from any of the process, right? Make things super easy for yourself. So when you wake up in the morning, basically the night before, if you have a coffee, set a timer. So when you wake up, all right, the coffee's already made, boom. Take the coffee, drink it, perfect. After the decision that I didn't have to make in the morning, that reduces my allocation of RAM or of memory, right? So now I have more to account to something else, something that may be more important. What clothes am I gonna wear? You know, all these little things, it's super, super easy. Just set out the amount, set out your clothes, just wear the same clothes every single day. If you wanna be that, you know, crazy about it, you can do that. Maybe if you're in your house, you could do that, but if you're like going out, don't wear the same clothes every day. Yeah, don't listen to that type of advice, and I do want to mention something that, because I think Dan Coe's a really, really, really great writer, and I'm sure everybody has seen his post on X, and he mentioned these three things. The first thing is you need to be building. So you need to be building something that you can allocate most of your attention and your time to, because obviously that's going to have the highest ROI, right? Second thing is maintenance. Obviously, you need to be able to maintain something. You need to be able to have it sustainable long term. In case any problems arise, you need to be able to maintain it, right? Just like a car. And then last thing is recovery. Recovery is a lot of things that productivity gurus will tell you not to do. It's not to recover, it's to grind set, it's to do all these things, but that's never gonna work. You need to be able to recover, have conversations with friends, go out if you want. I think going out is a great business strategy. I think having fun is also a great business strategy. Once you're social enough to just go out and speak to kind of like anyone and you have that confidence, you're gonna see a lot of opportunities fall in your lap. But of course, don't be getting drunk every single weekend. Don't be smoking every single weekend. If you do decide to drink, do it in complete moderation. I quit drinking for almost 2 years when I first started. So that just goes to say about a lot of things. But it's super beneficial. I've seen a lot of benefit for me from resting. From my type of resting would maybe be going out for dinners, maybe watching a movie, speaking with friends, any of those things, right? Going on walks too are really great. It's a super simple thing. Listening to music, going to the gym, all these things are basically like recovery in a way. And another thing I want to say is simplicity. So we went from having a good start, removing any types of friction, so any of the things that are completely distracting you from your work, and I know you know exactly what is distracting you. Don't tell me you don't. If you don't, analyze it, go through your day, and find things that are distracting you from your work, and you will figure it out pretty quick. Number 3 is simplicity. Simple things are going to scale. Don't make things super complex for you. Like I said, you only have so much RAM, so much memory you can allocate to things. If you're creating so many decisions for yourself and you're making everything so complex, then you're not going to end up going anywhere. You're going to feel super stuck. Now, the amount of work, the work that you need to do, that isn't your problem. Your real problem is that you can't focus on it properly because it's so complex and it's so difficult. So your perceived ability to achieve something is low, and you don't think you have the ability to do so because it seems so far-fetched or because it's so complicated. So you don't even try at all. Or if you do try, you half-ass it. So when you make things complex for yourself, not only if it's basically self-sabotage, and when things are simple, things are broken down, anybody could do it, right? So your perceived likelihood of achievement is gonna be a lot higher. And you could do this by setting just goals that are really, really easy to understand. So if you say, let's say like, oh, I wanna grow a personal brand. Well, that doesn't really mean much. Instead, you break that down into actions, make it measurable, right? The SMART goal theory, right, is SMART. S is specific, M measurable, A achievable or attainable, R is why am I blanking? Relevant, and then T is time, right? The amount of time. So instead of I want to grow a personal brand, you can go, I want to make 3 pieces of short form content and track every single metric this week, right? So you have every single thing in there. It's so much easier to do. You can post 3 things, but when you have to try to grow a personal brand, it seems a lot harder. It's like a more daunting task, right? We learned this in school. I'm sure many of you have learned this in school, but go at it with the simplest way of achieving goals. So that's that. And now another thing, fourth thing I think, is simplicity scales. Fourth thing is, instead of running toward your dreams, run away from pain. There's so many things that I didn't want to live with as my past self. So many financial things, so many lifestyle things, and I constantly looked at the vision board and I was like, I want this car, I want this house, I want this amount of money. But what if you don't want that amount of money? What if you don't want that kind of house? What if you don't want to feel alone again? What if you don't want an empty fridge? What if you don't want all those things? You gotta find a deep-rooted why and use that pain as fuel, because a lot of the times it's not negativity, it's not just thinking negatively, it's not being a pessimist, it's using that pain that'll always be there inside of you, but using it rather as the victim mentality and you being like, oh, my poor life, poor me, I'm settled with this. Be a man or a woman. Be confident in yourself. Be confident in your ability to be able to say, okay, no matter what is going on in my life, I can change that. I have the ability to change that, and I don't want to live like this anymore, and I'm refusing to accept that. So I'm going to go chase something else. I'm going to run away from the past life that I was living in my past self, because it doesn't serve me anymore. I don't like to live like this. So not only build from pain, but also build from your dreams too. Like I'm saying, run away from, pain and use the pain as fuel, but you also need to run towards your dreams. Obviously, if you don't have anything to look forward to, you're gonna have a really hard time kind of achieving certain goals. You need goals, you need dreams, you need aspirations that will allow you to just kind of set milestones for yourself and allow things to be more achievable and trackable. So I do both, flip the switch, and constantly kind of what I've done is I've listed things that I want to run away from. I keep it on me at all times, and things that I want to go towards, I also keep that on me at all times. So I have both things, and I make sure that I'm constantly, flipping between them. Now, last thing. This is the last thing. We're going to do 5. There's just a lot of things that have allowed me to close multiple 5-figure deals at 20, 21 years old, and being able to move into a penthouse with some of my closest friends at the age of 21 years old. And the view says it for itself. It is really cold, but that's besides the point anyways. 5th thing is you need to be obsessed. Obsession isn't a bad thing, and I think there's a stigma when it comes to obsession. I think a lot of people don't want to be obsessed with things because it makes them seem needy or greedy, but you should be greedy. You should not be perceived as needy when it comes to another person, but you should be greedy. You should go after exactly what you want, and by being greedy, you need to be obsessed with something because you're going to want to take all of it, right? So you're obsessed with a girl, you're going to want her all for yourself, right? That's how it should be. But it's very difficult to be obsessed with something for a long period of time. And I'm not saying you need to be obsessed with something for like years on end, but you need to be obsessed with the beginning, because that is when the output or the inputs are going to be much higher if you're obsessed with something, because you're going to put in so many more hours, you're going to be so much more quality, and it's going to be something that's worth suffering for. And something that's worth suffering for is going to get you much further than you think, right? Because if you're willing to endure all that pain for something like, your business, if you're willing to go through so much rejection, but you're obsessed with it and you just keep going, just imagine how long it's going to take, or how fast you're going to be able to get to where you want to go to make money, right? There's a few things that you can think of in your mind when it comes to being obsessed. You need to be curious about things. So find curiosity in the most basic things. Ask a lot of questions. Find some sort of passion in it. You don't need to be passionate about it entirely, but find some passion in it. Like for me, example, I'm passionate about helping people and making people's lives better. I'm also passionate about building and creating, and that's something that we've integrated into our business. So that's a lot of things I want to do. Find some purpose in it too. Find some reasoning behind it, whether it's something higher than yourself, a message from God, or a purpose from from God, then, you know, whatever it is, use that as fuel. Get some autonomy in there. Obviously, you want to be able to, the reason we go into business is to have control over ourselves and control over our destiny. So make sure you have that autonomy. Don't delegate too quickly, and make sure you're doing a lot of things yourself so you become a master at it, and you're able to teach it a lot better as well. And and I think those are really good frameworks, and that's a really good formula to have, and it's honestly an amazing foundation. Not a lot of people are going to give you this type of stuff online, especially people my age. They're going to just flex the Lambos, flex the watches, the penthouses. And yeah, I'm in a penthouse, but I'm not flexing it because I truly don't care about all these materialistic things. They don't really mean much to me. What means a lot more is the ability to create wealth, experience love, create beauty, and to take care of the people that I love, and also just, be a good person at the end of the day, right? Because if you're a shitty person, but you have a penthouse and you have a nice car, then yeah, who really cares? I'm not trying to be around you. But anyways, that's some of the things that you can think about. These are probably, it's gonna be a sequence of videos that I'm gonna be making, because I actually like just picking up the camera and kind of talking to it. I haven't really done this, and I've just made like business type videos, but I want to keep making videos like this. I think they're really great. So if you like this video and you want to see more of them, you want to see more psychology focused rather than kind of, obviously this was psychology, but it was more of like 5 steps that I can give you, or 5 pieces of advice that I can give you. If you want to see like more psychology things, then you can leave a comment, leave a like, and we'll get into it. So thanks for watching the video, and I'm rooting for you. I'll see you in the next one. Ciao.